Rob, how you doing?
Good.
Sergio
Sergio, pleasure to meet you.
Sergio.
Nice to meet you.
Albert, nice to meet you.
Albert, nice to meet you.
Albert, nice to meet you.
Welcome.
All right, this is like the final phase. The other company, you and the other three companies were selected price-wise. Your figures came in on the work that you bidded on. So what's going to determine who gets the work, who gets the contract, it's all going to come down to your safety culture. It does no good to have a company that can do the job for the price that they listed, but yet it's going to cost us millions of dollars in accidents and incidences. So we're going to ask a few questions, and like I said, final decision is going to be based on your safety culture as to who gets the contracts. So for the last 2 or 3 minutes, then you'll be able to ask us any questions that you would like to ask us. So he's going to start off with the couple questions. He's going to switch off in between all three of us. So
Okay.
I'm going to ask the first one.
So explain how your company gets top management involved in safety.
You gonna call in somebody or?
No, let's back up briefly. What is your position with the company?
I'm the regional safety director.
Okay, and yours?
CEO.
CEO? Okay, and you?
Site safety coordinator.
Okay, and you?
Area safety manager.
Alright. So, let's, who do you want to hear from?
Mr. CEO,
Yes, sir.
how do you get involved in safety within your own organization?
Basically, well, first of all, I take pride in it, and by that, I make sure they all get their qualifications and education first.
What Sergio's trying to say, you basically asking how does management get involved with safety, right? Right. Okay. Well, management has a lot to do with safety. You know, they're the ones that give us the job. Here you go, guys. We got these what are called blueprints, I guess. We want y'all to do this. Okay, safety, us as a company and safety techs, safety professionals that we have out there, we'll send, you know, guys, girls out there to inspect, you know,
Well, you know what, I'm just going to interrupt you there and
Yeah.
save you the embarrassment of stumbling on your own words. This is what we're asking. I'm going to go to the original question. It is explain how your company gets top management involved in safety. The professionals, what they do is they submit a written safety plan. Each company has to have an individual safety plan. And on the very first page of that safety, when I open that cover, I'm supposed to see management, top management signatures, that they're not only read this safety plan, that the safety coordinator and safety manager have comprised after walking the job site and taking every assessment in. They read it, and when they sign it, they're telling us that not only do they read it, they're endorsing it. So there has to be a communication of hazards and so on between the safety department and upper management, and they cohesively work on this. So that's how we know that management was involved, by those signatures on the very first page of your safety plan, which I don't see that you submitted one. Do you have one?
yes, me.
Yes. Or whoever?
Yes, yeah.
May I see it? Because you're going to have to submit it for the final stage of this project. You cannot be on our job site without you having a company-specific safety plan. I mean,
We don't have it with us on it now. We'll get it emailed.
All right,
to
well
you
then,
now.
let me just ask you this, what's your, it should be in your safety plan, what's your fall rescue plan?
As far as what are we using?
Just
Well,
not-
we
Let me
use
ask
the
the
far
question
overall.
again, what's the fall rescue plan? What are you gonna do? Somebody falls and dangling like a spider off of their harness, how are you gonna rescue them?
Well, we have two methods. Our first method is getting someone out there. Our second method is secondary is the crane that we have on site. We always have a crane on site. We use them as our secondary.
Okay, is that figured into your cost, because we're not footing the bill for that?
Yes, our cranes come with it.
All right, okay. That's what we needed to know. because that's how we know this upper management has got involved. Because when you submit that 3-ring binder that looks like a big blue Bible, 300-400 pages of your safety plan, the first thing that we do is we open it up and you see if VP, president has signed off on the safety plan. That's how we know that upper management. See, because people in the field, safety coordinators, so on, that work out of a Connex or a blast box, that's not upper management. It's the ones in the tailored suits, up in corporate. That's how we need to know that there's some type of involvement other than them just seeing, profit and losses. So, you want to ask the second?
Yeah. So, show me training that your upper management has. What kind of training do your foremen, your safety?
All of our supervisors across the board, all of them have their OSHA 30. Anybody that comes on our job site is trained for OSHA 30. That's the bare minimum.
That's everybody from working hands all the
Everybody.
way up to.
Everybody. That's the minimum. We do have our supervisors, our first lines who are first aid, CPR trained. They go through different courses depending on what our client expects. Sometimes we have our minimum and then sometimes the client expects more and sometimes we gotta go pay for more. So if you guys tell us, hey, your guys need to have the OSHA 500, well, that's the next course we'll send them through.
Okay, and you're the safety coordinator?
Yes.
Okay, what's the title that you hold? What are the 3 letters at the end of your name? Is it OHST or is it CSP, CSST, CSSS? What are your credentials? If you have to think about it, it's making me kind of worried that, the safety coordinator.
That's one of the things that I don't really.
If you're a certified safety professional, then you're looking at a minimum of an associate's in safety plus a certified safety professional signing off on you with 5 years of field experience, and then you take the test. If you're an OHST, that's a 300-hour course.
Mhm.
So I'm asking you, what are your qualifications? What are your credentials?
CSP?
So where did you attain that at? Is it through college, online courses? I mean, I got mine through a university that's accredited and renowned throughout the U.S. Where did you get yours? And please don't tell me University of Phoenix online.
College, I guess.
Which one?
I wouldn't be able to say. 'Cause
You don't know where you attended. That scares me. Okay, you. What's your credentials? You're the safety manager?
CEO.
Okay, CEO. Where's the safety manager? Okay, Mr. Safety Manager, what are your credentials?
It's CSP, all the bare minimums. I did go to U of H, got my bachelor's.
Is that, what's your bachelor's, what's your major?
I definitely send you my resume with all my credentials.
That scares me that nobody knows their own credentials, but let me tell you this. With a bachelor's, you can immediately take your CSP test. If you don't have a bachelor's, then you have to have a 2-year associate's in safety, again, with a CSP signing off and 5 years in the field experience, and then you take your CSP test. So when you said bare minimums, you weren't kidding me. All right, so you want to go? Oh, I'm sorry, it's Lightning's next.
Oh, no, it's my credentials.
Let me ask you this, fellas, and ladies. How does your company instill accountability for safety violations or any type of safety situation?
Depending on the situation, we do have several degrees. For instance, somebody gets caught night off. Depending on where they're at and what they're working around, they could be somewhere from just a write-up to they're no longer on that job site, depending on the circumstance.
Okay. And how do you instill that in them? How do you get the point across to them that there are repercussions for their lack of participation in a safe day at work?
Through first day of orientation, there's a safety plan, there's a safety expectation. Everybody is expected to sign off on it. Once you sign off on it, then you're held accountable. If we catch you violating one of those
There's only one
major
thing.
safety violations, then we take further action.
There's only one thing that concerns me. That was a good answer, but there's just one thing that concerns me, and that concern is, did you research our safety culture first?
Yes.
Okay, and what's the very fundamental aspect that the nexus of our safety culture?
lifesaving
Yes,
rules.
I am. All right. Do you know them?
I did know them. It's been a
Well,
while since
I
I've
don't
overlooked
expect
them.
you to, I don't even know, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
This was my concern, that you said whether you were going to terminate that person. If you knew that our 12 life-saving rules, our biggest thing is zero tolerance is fall protection, and you told me that,
You have your standard, we have ours.
but you're
We're gonna
blanket
take
under
the
a,
further standard.
right, but see, then you just told me that you were gonna follow him, because you said depending where he is, we may write him up, or we may terminate him. You do know that you have to
Because
follow our.
you have your standard, but then we have ours.
Ours is the
might
very
be-
minimum that we will accept on our job site.
Ours is gonna be more so. So you might say 6 foot, that's your rule, we might say 4 foot.
But you realize that you're on our premises and that it's our house rules.
That's your minimum. We take your minimum and we exceed it.
So then, I guess your answer should have been zero tolerance, immediate
Fine.
termination. Because that is our life-saving rule. Any fall protection is zero tolerance, and he actually gets banned from any shell or Motiva site in the world.
Yeah, but the one thing we weren't not gonna come in here and talk about was terminating our employees. We were talking about how we would save our employees.
But that's
Okay.
an actual part of safety.
Unfortunately, that is a byproduct
No.
of doing something wrong.
All
There's a
right.
consequence. With that in mind, can I skip over to a couple of questions? Because
Yeah.
I want to touch on something that he touched on. You mentioned orientation a while ago.
Mhm.
What is your orientation process?
From start to finish,
Yeah, how much time do you dedicate on a job site? Let's say our job site. How much time are you willing to give your
the
employees?
first day is nothing but orientation.
Okay.
They'll
And-
start around
and-
6:30, 7 o'clock, they'll probably go home around 3, and the whole day is nothing but orientating, going over the safety plans, safety actions, what's gonna happen, what we expect from them, your expectations, our expectations, and the minimum and the maximum standard.
So you will lay out our safety plan in your orientation,
Yes,
okay? And I assume at that time you will add to it
oh yes.
anything that you.
We're gonna take your minimum and we're gonna exceed it.
Let me say this, and please don't take this the wrong way, but I find that kind of offensive, that you think, how old is your company?
20. We've been
20 years old. All right, we've been around since the dinosaurs, okay? And you think that you can improve on something that we've spent hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars working on our safety culture, but you think that you can improve on that?
Our numbers have proven it.
Okay. Anything?
All right, the questions that were safety goals.
Explain how you give your employees the opportunity to participate in safety.
Explain, can you repeat that question, please?
Explain how you give your employees the opportunity to participate in safety.
Each month, we have like what we call a heat team, I guess. Every Wednesday, basically for a month, every Wednesday, that safety team will go out to, more multi-craft company, of course. So we'll go to the electrical side, check out their fab shops, do inspections and so things like that, pipe fitting side, all that. We do that because 7 o'clock in the morning. Let's say we're going at 7 o'clock. We do that until lunchtime. And each week we will recognize somebody that, hey, so and so was doing this safe.
So that team is comprised of your employees from different crafts and different sites of your job site.
And some first line supervisors.
Yes.
Okay.
We want to take our people that are in the field and get them involved in safety. We feel that if we take some of our people who are on their tools and you give them a little bit of safety aspect, and walk them around, show them what we expect and what they see, you get a different perspective. So we take our employees
I'm
and
glad
we
you
get them.
clarified that, because, that brought a lot more to that.
So you actually have a rewards program for people who do things safely.
sorry, sir.
I wouldn't really call it a rewards
Oh,
program, maybe just a small incentive just to, if you're the one working safe and we see that, well, we want you to come work with us and show us what you see out in the field.
Okay, so you see a guy who's, let's say, running some conduit. He's on a ladder and he's working safe, he's got his PPE on. What is your incentive? Attaboy, does he get a box of chocolate chip
No, we don't do
cookies?
anything for any one employee. You know, if we work a set of man hours, you know, if we could reach, 100,000 safe work man hours, then we'll do like a group lunch, stuff like that.
Alright. Alright, so it's incentive versus recognition type of, alright, last question.
I got two.
Okay.
Are your managers trained in OSHA 30?
I think actually he
Yeah,
answered
we-
that
yeah,
earlier.
we covered it.
You did, huh?
Yes, last one.
Everyone on our job site has the minimum of an OSHA 30.
Explain your company's culture.
We live by goal zero. We want everybody to walk in that gate and walk back out the exact same way they came in. Maybe a little more money in their pocket, but a lot safer than the way they walk in. We don't want nobody getting hurt at any cost.
And
We can explain to you guys why we have to spend a little more money because the job takes longer than it is to get somebody hurt, and we gotta explain why we gotta pay out hundreds of thousands because this gentleman just lost his life.
But how do you get your employees to buy in on that?
It's training. Training and beating it into them, so to speak. We want them to know that we're serious about it. We show them that we're serious about it.
I guess what we're asking is it a behavioral based type of safety culture? Is it proactive? Is it reactive? I mean, is it refined through your, 20 years experience, or did you, glean, the best, collected parts of other people's safety? I mean, what type of safety culture is it? Is it, again, I asked this question, is it behavioral based? Is it trial and error? Is it?
It's always gonna be a little bit of everything. I mean, depending on what kind of job site we're working on. I mean, for instance, you guys' shell building, it's gonna be a little different because we'll be indoors most of the time. So most of that's gonna be behavioral based, depending on what we can see and what we can find.
So in other words, what you're saying is you're adapting to that site specific.
Exactly.
Okay, which would, again, would have been apparent had you submitted the signed off, see, that's why we have to ask.
We will get that to you this afternoon.
All right, well then we won't, scrutinize you with redundant questions that could have been answered with that safety, program signed and in front of us, and we could have just gleaned our answers from there. All right, for the last 2 or 3 minutes, you're free to ask any questions from us.
You guys got anything?
I got some. How long you said y'all been in business for?
We're Shell,
Shell?
we've been here
For-
since dinosaurs became
Century or more. No.
And have y'all had any recordables on your fault, as far as your employees?
Well, if you would have looked at our website, which shows all of our posted numbers, actually we have a baseline of 1, which is standard for every industry. You can't get any, the only way to get any lower than that is to not be in business. So I do suggest though that you look at our website, because we have in our TRIR numbers, our EMR numbers, our DART number are on there. And because being in safety, you should know, and being part of management, you should know that those have to be posted from January all the way to March, and they have to be in public view. So, once again, I do suggest you research our company a little more before you actually decide to do a bid proposal on the site, because we wanted to research you, but again, we didn't have a signed off plan from you.